I never expected a growl behind my shed to turn into the most unexpected rescue of my life. It was April, but the yard still held patches of stubborn snow, cool underfoot even as the trees began to bloom. At first, I thought someone was screaming, like a person caught between pain and panic. But the sound was low and broken. I dropped the feed bag I was carrying and sprinted around the corner. There, on the cold snow, was blood and a shape I first mistook for a dog. Then yellow eyes and tufted ears told me it was an old bobcat, thin and matted, its back leg twisted at an impossible angle. For a moment, he and I just stared at each other, my heart pounding, his breath ragged. That stare, neither fear nor trust, pulled me closer before I forced myself to step back. But I couldn't leave him. "What happened to you?" I muttered, though the only answer was his uneven breathing. Inside the shed, I found old towels, thick gloves, even a flashlight. My hands shook as I returned to him. He watched calmly, eyes gleaming in the dim light. His fur was rough with grime, his legs swollen under fur that hid how badly it ached. I kneeled, slow and steady, whispering, "Easy now." When I reached out, he growled, a deep warning sound, but didn't bolt. That gave me the chance to slide the tarp under his front legs, bundling him gently. He flinched once, then lay still as I lifted him. He felt so light, so defeated, as though all his strength had bled away. In the hush of the evening, I carried him inside, the dry boards creaking under my boots. I cleared the corner of the shed, swept up dust and rustling tools, and laid him on an old dog bed. I expected snarls or a desperate scamper away. But nothing. He just lay there, head on his paws, eyes wide and fixed on me. When his chest rose and fell, I counted each ragged breath. I felt something shift inside me. I spent that whole night on an overturned crate, the old wood biting into my legs, watching him. By morning, I had fashioned a makeshift stall, towels for warmth, a bowl of water, a dish of leftover chicken. At first, he ignored the chicken, but he drank, every lap drawing him slowly back toward life. By noon, I called in sick, claimed the flu, though I wasn't fooling myself. I couldn't bring myself to explain rescuing a wild cat. Outside, life was stirring in the hills. Woodpeckers drumming, jays flitting through branches. I sat on the shed steps, watching the world wake, while inside he sat up, swiveling his head to look at me. Then the open door, then me again. "You're not going to run, are you?" I asked, though I knew he wouldn't answer. There was a calm in him now, measured and aware, not the wild fury I'd expected. That afternoon, I scoured the web. Leave wild animals alone. Call a wildlife rehab center. But the nearest was 3 hours away, and part of me didn't want to. I checked on him hourly. Once I found him licking his injured leg. Another time, he simply stared at the shed wall, deep in thought. As dusk approached, I decided to seek advice from my neighbor, Jake. He'd run the town gas station before retiring, knew everyone's business. "Jake," I said, "I found a bobcat behind my shed, hurt bad." He gave me a long look. "You call anyone?" "Not yet." He shook his head. "You keep that too close. Someone's going to call animal control, and it won't be for you." Back home, the shed was quiet. Too quiet. I pushed open the door. Empty. Towels scattered, water bowl toppled, glass from the back window glittering like tears on the floor. My heart slammed. Had someone taken him? Had he fled? Panic rose in my throat. I searched the yard, but no tracks, no footprints, only the wind through the budding trees. I stood frozen until night fell and a soft thump sounded on the porch. There he was, breathing hard, eyes locked on me. He'd gone out, or someone had taken him and chosen to come back. In that moment, I wondered who was helping whom. Sleep eluded me that night, but at dawn he was gone again. I grabbed boots and coat and plunged into the hills before the fog lifted. It clung low, swirling through the pines like a living thing. I followed faint tracks, a bent twig, a single paw print, until I stumbled upon a half-collapsed circle of mossy stones tucked into the slope. Old bones lay scattered at its center, leather fragments and a rusty belt buckle tangled among them. My breath caught. A hunter's grave, maybe decades old. My father would have stopped here. He taught me to read the earth's stories, owl pellets, tracks in mud, every mark revealing a tale. He died when I was 12. I knelt, said a quiet word to the past, then felt a tug in my chest as the fog thinned and my breath steadied. When I reached the cabin, he was curled against the door, chest rising slow and steady. I opened the door a crack. He nudged inside without hesitation. No wild snaps, only acceptance. But that afternoon brought a call from work. We've had complaints. You either relocate the animal or take unpaid leave. Those words stung more than I expected. Unpaid. Fired. I stared at him lying by the heater. So calm, so domesticated. Yet I knew he was neither stray nor pet. The next morning I drove 40 minutes to the vet in Milltown and lied I found a stray. When they scanned his chip, the tech frowned. The vet emerged, tired eyes on the screen. Federal Research Facility in Oregon, he said. Behavior modification, neurology programs. My stomach dropped. Experiments, implants, what had they done to him? Back home, he greeted me with a stretch, unbothered. That evening, almost on a dare, I said, "Sit." He sat. "Come." He approached. "Stay." He froze in place. My mouth went dry. These weren't guesses. He obeyed. Late that night, a man knocked. Plain clothes, controlled posture, like a soldier on leave. "Saw a big cat by the creek," he said. "Not a cougar, knee-high, striped." I lied that I'd seen nothing. He walked away, vanishing into the darkness. The bobcat watched, unblinking, as if he recognized the threat. The following days brought more signs. A small camera hidden under the porch. A threatening note wedged under my windshield. "Call this number. It's about the animal." I smashed the camera, burned the note. Yet each sunset he slipped out into the night. Each dawn he returned. Curled by the fireplace, sometimes bearing leaves or a fresh scratch, but never weak or limping. What was he doing out there? Why did he need to go? One morning, I spotted a figure on the ridge, binoculars raised, watching the cabin. I reported it, but the sheriff sighed. "Unless there's trespass or damage, there's little we can do." That afternoon, Jake came by. "Talking to yourself again?" he asked, arms crossed. "Be careful. If something dangerous is here, you're in over your head." Then came the day he didn't return by dawn. I searched myself frantic. Along the creek, through thick underbrush, calling his silent name. All I found was a smear of blood on a tree, another on a rock, and finally his collar hanging from a low branch, bent and bloodied. I sank to my knees, the forest indifferent around me. That night, I sat before the fire pit, the collar in my hands. I didn't cry, couldn't, only stared into the flames until it turned to ash. Weeks passed. I repaired the shed window, mowed the grass, tried to reclaim normal. Town gossip died down. Jake stopped calling. Summer settled over the hills, hot air humming with cicadas. Then one evening, just as the sun slipped behind the ridge, I looked up and saw him at the edge of the tree line, still as a statue, eyes fixed on me, no growl, no hiss, only that same calm awareness. Then he turned and melted into the trees without a sound. I stood in the fading light, heart pounding, wondering if the last weeks were a dream. Had he really come back just to say goodbye? Or was it grief playing tricks? Either way, something inside me had shifted forever, and I knew I would never be the same.